Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. And in EVE Online, it's been about an average week in EVE Online. I actually feel like I got a decent amount of game time in, where it's mostly been spent doing the regular stuff. A little bit of exploration, a little bit of mining. I actually haven't done a lot of industry. I've been focusing on the research with the blueprint copy business that is still going decently strong. The Raitaru blueprint copy is actually still selling at a pretty decent price, and I'm getting rid of all my component blueprints decently quickly as well. The timing on making them, it takes a little bit longer in the Raitaru than it did in the POS, but overall I think it basically lines up a little bit better with how fast I'm getting rid of the contracts at the prices that I'm asking for. So it's looking pretty good. ISK-wise, no real problems. I'm just slowly growing my ISK. I've also sold a few investments. I've sold the mega site that I still had left in Jita, which was a small amount, not really that much, but I also made two good trades on some of those advanced moon materials. If you haven't checked the EVE talk from yesterday, then make sure to do that, because there's some information in there and a few others that seem to be good to buy at the moment as well. So that was actually decently successful. I think I made a few $100 million there as well. And other than that, I think all I did was try to log on every day. I think I got every gift that CCP gave us for Christmas, so that's pretty cool as well. And right now, honestly, I'm looking forward to what's next for EVE Online. So I have to be honest, my main interest has switched a little bit from the structures, right? So there's more structures set to come out. But what I'm actually most interested in at the moment is what CCP is planning to do with the new NPCs, because I do think that will have a lot of potential. So that's what I'm looking for at the moment, is more information on what CCP is planning for EVE Online in 2017. Next up, we've got a little bit of Overwatch, so just a few more quick play games, but honestly, it's been really fun playing some more Overwatch here and there. A couple of the games, a couple of the sessions, in fact, have been pretty bad, where I actually lost 2-3 games in a row. That's not always all that fun, but on a few other ones, we had really good games as well, where we basically managed to crush the opposition very, very smoothly, and that does make for a pretty fun experience. But most of the games, honestly, they feel decently well balanced, and you can always try to switch to the right character in order to fill the gaps, in order to counter the enemy plays or the enemy combinations also, right? So you've got stuff like an annoying Torbjorn or a Bastion that is protected by shields. Well, try to go with a Farad, get above them, try to destroy them that way. There's always a few options that you can test out in order to try and counter what the opponents are doing. It is something that I think people are not doing enough in general in quick play, but that's when that's your chance to shine, right? Then you try and do that. You try to take the right character to fill the gaps. Although I must also admit that in most of the games, I tend to take a character and stick to that for as long as possible, because you don't want to waste the progress on your ultimate abilities either. Still, Overwatch has been a lot of fun. I'm still enjoying the game, and I also noticed that they are announcing yet another character that should come to the game pretty soon, along with, I think, new maps and possibly new game modes as well. So yeah, Blizzard is working very hard on Overwatch, and it's still a lot of fun to play. I look forward to all the new stuff that they're bringing to the game as well, especially since all of that, of course, comes with no additional cost, which is great. Just having bought the base game makes it a worthwhile purchase already. Next up, we've got a little bit of Stellaris. Now, unfortunately, with the holidays, I haven't really been able to get together with my brother and play more co-op Stellaris, but I've been enjoying the co-op game so much that I started a single-player game as well, and this one is going surprisingly well. For the first time, I do feel like I'm advancing, able to reach objectives, and able to grow my empire. That is one thing that I think is pretty tricky to do sometimes, but basically, some of the things that I've found out that are really good to do is to early on go with an outpost that expands your influence and that basically blocks off another empire that's close to you. There's usually going to be at least 2, maybe 3 of them that are very close to you, and you have to be next to their border before they grab all of the real estate next to your border and cut you off from expanding enough. I feel like that's pretty important. Now, another thing that I've once again noticed in this game is that the NPCs tend to be your opposite, really close to you. So this time I chose a race that was militaristic, and the guys around me were much more hesitant to actually come out and attack me when I was expanding well beyond their capabilities. Another thing that I try to do a little bit is to try and get people on my side. So I try to bribe them a little bit with some free energy credits. That seemed to work, right? It seems to at least temporarily boost your reputation with them, and that means that they're not so likely to attack you. And after that, managing to get a few colonies before they did, you basically manage to snowball from there, increasing your real estate, your economy, and then eventually your military as well. Actually, your military, keep up with the military as much as possible. For every colony I made, I immediately maxed out the spaceport there, and then maxed out the military as well before putting up another colony. But if your early growth is faster than your neighbors, then you can keep snowballing well ahead of your neighbors. And except for those fallen empires, I am now probably the most powerful empire in the current game that I'm playing. So I think that's pretty good position to be in to explore some of the other things. I found the ring world, I found like a dreadnought as well, and of course there are these final crises that might hit as well. So that's the goal for this game, try and reach end game, try and get a full experience of Stellaris, and so far it's looking pretty good for me to be able to reach that. And finally we've got Doom. So Doom is the first game that I bought during the Steam winter sale. I think it was like 20 euros or something like that. Had a lot of positive reviews, and I've basically so far played through the single player campaign on the easiest difficulty setting, just rushing through to see the story, to get to know the levels and things like that. So it's Doom, right? Don't expect Skyrim, don't expect a Fallout or anything like that. It's about blowing up demons. It's definitely not about the story or character development or anything like that. But it is extremely polished, it works really well, and it's pretty fun to play, although at the tail end it got close to being repetitive. It never got boring, it never got super repetitive. The story, the small story that there is there, flows well enough. You get to different zones often enough that it doesn't get to that boring point, but you do notice the lobby mechanic. Basically, you're always thrown into a little map. A number of demons spawn, try to get to them before you run out of ammo, and then move on to the next zone. That's basically the pattern that you will start to feel towards the end of the single player campaign. So there is more to the game, of course. There's multiplayer, there's a lot of stuff that you could do to upgrade. So I'm seeing myself do a second playthrough on probably a harder difficulty setting, trying to upgrade my suit as much as possible, trying to get all the upgrades for my weapons, trying to get it as powerful as possible to see what it's like to play in that mode. This time I just basically rushed through the game a little bit, just to experience it, to see what it was like, and never to get to that super powerful position or anything like that. It's been a decent amount of fun, but I have to be honest, if the multiplayer doesn't bring any value, and with Overwatch being so much fun, I sort of have my doubts. I'll give it a go, but I sort of have my doubts. I would say that $20 is maybe at the high end of what I would personally actually pay for Doom. I would say $15, 15 euros is where I would put the aim at if you're mainly going to go for the single player experience. So there you go, that's it for me this week. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.